Wait, Ethan, what do you mean by that? Are you just basically saying that the IQ system or this whole like graft is racist? Bro, how dumb are you? First, look at this one in the background. You see this, chat? See this in the background? Does that look like it's modern art for you? Like, does that look like art to you? It doesn't for me. It's just, well, just a bunch of scribbles and just paint just being dripped in the background. Somehow Ethan just can't see it that way. He prefers seeing stuff like this. We're watching a video called Ethan is Online, a commentary paradox, because Jesus Christ, Ethan is Online has a very long history. I mean, hell, I even made a video about him just recently. Go check it out, by the way. And it's made by the YouTuber Gama, I think that's how you say it, or Gama. I don't know. I'm just gonna send it in chat, so that way you guys can check it out too. So yeah, with that out of the way, let's enjoy the video.
Someone that I have been keeping tabs on for quite some time now, who I firmly believe is a detriment to his own reputation and the reputation of others, has been a little-known creator by the name of EthanIsOnline. What first made me really start has been a
Hold
little-known
on,
creator by the name
what was the video? Not the video, the picture.
of EthanIsOnline.
Of course, everyone's using that picture. I mean, even I did.
What first made me really start paying attention to this person and their catalog of garbage ideas and opinions was the whole Super Mega situation of last year. To give a brief summary of this series of events, it was essentially another allegation case where a former member of Super Mega, a gaming media channel, came out against another member, which led to a cancellation campaign. Lex Updog released a video where she presents grievances she had in regards to the members of the Super Mega channel. While telling her story, she described her experience as traumatizing and smeared members of Super Mega in an extremely exaggerated and distorted display.
Yeah, and it almost costed Super Mega, well, their whole company. Like, they almost stopped making videos. I think they're posting videos again now. I might be wrong. But yeah, it almost destroyed them.
Personal vitriol, not only did she smear Super Mega, but also accused a member, Dawn, of sexual assault. It was clear there was a bias in regards to her overall separation from Dawn and Super Mega, biases that were spread within her personal circle of quote-unquote friends, and by that I mean one particular example in this case, Nick is not green. Nick decided to cover the
Bro, Nick is not green. I hate him so much. I'm not sure. Well, Ethan is Online is worse, but Nick is not green. Jesus Christ, bro. Plus, they were even friends back then. Not anymore now. Hopefully, this guy covers that. But, bro, you can tell that they're both bad if they used to be friends together. And then I guess somehow a falling out happened, which is kind of ironic.
allegations and biased complaints from Lex Updog and added his own antithetical ideas and opinions. As a result, Nick released a bad faith, personally driven hit piece video called Super Mega is Full of Horrible People. To learn more about this topic, which I'm not going to explain in detail since it's an old drama, please check out these videos here. Nick's coverage of the situation was so deceptive and bad faith that the commentary community and even other figures outside of it questioned the validity of Nick and his commentary. This led Nick's credibility as a commentator himself to outright crumble, as it was clear that he couldn't handle serious issues in a way that did not pander to a specific audience, or wasn't filled to the brim with bias and virtue signaling. Not only was his reputation ruined, but the backlash he received resulted in a heavy hit to his channel. Due to his crumbling presence on
Yeah, this this whole situation basically killed Nick is not green, and somehow Ethan's Online got away with it for a bit.
YouTube, ultimately he had no choice but to walk back his video and apologize for the situation. Not once, not twice, but more than 4 times now. While Nick received the brunt of the burn for what was a successful false cancellation of Super Mega following the drama, one person in this group of horrible people who came out of this even more terrible, even more annoying, and even more disgusting than before is EthanIsOnline. So let's start with Super Mega real quick as a point of criticism. This is something that people have brought up time and time again, but to have the gall to make a near 4-hour stream doing nothing but writing the downfall of a channel that was clearly targeted over slanted differences between personalities is something so incredibly petty that it really makes you start to wonder where Ethan's priorities and attentions lie. Instead of handling the situation maturely, Ethan behaves in a way that makes it very clear there's a personal grudge Ethan holds against these people, and it really starts making sense why this would be the case when you start connecting the dots.
Well, yeah, because obviously Ethan's dating Lex. I think they still are. I might be wrong about that, especially since well, this was months ago. But yeah, Ethan's Online. He had a grudge against Super Mega because his girlfriend was accusing them of covering up some essay, especially from this other guy Don or Dom. I forgot his name already. So yeah, of course he already has a grudge against them.
In my personal opinion and observation, there is probably a very loaded sense of envy and vengeful motive behind this behavior. Not that I know what's going on in Ethan's mind, but this behavior comes off as a really strong, in air quotes, I'm glad my partner's ex's career is getting torn to shreds over a very saturated and bad faith claim that even I don't know the extent of truth of sort of deal. Typically, I don't like to make these conjectures on my channel because there is no way of absolutely knowing, but the way Ethan responded to people after Super Mega's temporary shutdown goes to show that he had a lot of personally driven vitriol that even he couldn't justify at its entirety, because even he couldn't make valid defenses. When he was questioned about Lex Updog and the entirety of the drama, all he did was just have an angry, emotionally fueled meltdown on Twitter where he replied to everyone and anyone on Twitter for the sake of trying to save face. This just made him look worse because instead of trying to justify Lex's behavior with facts and logic, all he did was just make unsubstantiated claims that state Super Mega covered up an essay, or that Lex's claims weren't being believed due to commentary channels miscontextualizing her story. Further onto that, he doesn't even explain how or why this is the case. He just says it with nothing to back up the argument, no additional details on why this or that person was wrong. Keep in mind that Lex's story was filled with holes and a twisted series of events. This was perpetuated by Leighton as well. When Dawn and Super Mega came out with their responses, a lot of the record was corrected, or Lex and Leighton were proven to be outright liars who hid details or said the exact opposite of what happened. Details such as Leighton's allegations that Super Mega was homophobic or that Super Mega drove Lex to homelessness are two notable examples of bold lies these people told.
Said they did nothing but helped me, and then gaslit me about it and made me homeless.
Which this again is a lie, and she voluntarily left on her own choice.
We did not throw them out. We did not make them homeless. Here is a text message where they're talking about leaving the office. Y'all have certainly gone above and beyond with your generosity and allowing us to crash for as long as y'all have, and we'd hate to overstay our welcome any further than we already have.
But Ethan doesn't care about the reality of a situation. He just cares about coming out on top of a drama he's emotionally and personally invested in. He cares about his self-image so much that it wouldn't surprise me he behaved the way he did so that he wouldn't seem like a spineless cuck. Which, spoiler, he is. Maybe not the cuck part, but he definitely is a spineless coward.
I mean, it would be kind of funny if he is a cuck. I mean, something tells me that him and Lex Updog, there's not like really much of like a good connection when it comes to like a relationship. I'm not trying to question or anything. I'm not trying to like, you know, get myself involved in this relationship, but I don't know. Something tells me like EthanIsOnline is secretly a cuck.
After Nick reluctantly conceded in his overall fight with the commentary community and issued his final apologies, Lex and Ethan respectively were quick to unfriend him and start liking posts that talked negatively about Nick's coverage of the situation and Nick as a person.
Yeah, I guess that's what happened with the falling out. I mean, look at this thumbnail right here. Looks besties to backstabbers. Yeah, I mean, I guess it is a backstab because well, they started liking tweets of people just talking bad about Nick is not green. So I guess something must have happened. Like, I mean, I thought for the longest time, like, they were just talking behind the scenes, and that's when they had a falling out. But I guess that never happened. I guess after Nick released his video just apologizing about what happened, or, you know, just what he did, Ethan and Lex obviously got upset, so they backstabbed him and just started liking tweets of people just talking about Nick.
We can assume that Ethan probably had a part in getting Nick to make that video, and if he did, it just goes to show how cowardly he is for just sweeping Nick under the rug after Nick got torn apart. Something I noticed about Ethan after hours of listening to and watching his brain cell eviscerating content is the fact that in every single one of his videos, he comes across as a very virtuous, caring, compassionate, kind, and intelligent individual. Psych! This dude is as pretentious gets, and virtue signals to the highest degree. I didn't even realize you could grift or pretend to care about things as hard as Ethan does.
It's called ideological subversion.
You are doing that right now.
That's why there's a bunch of purple-haired girls roaming the streets chanting, "There is only one solution, Antifada revolution." They do have a really good chance.
God, that was so fucking cringe. What the hell does he mean purple-haired? What? Gay men really are the weakest link. To, like, immediately turn on purple-haired girls or whatever. Like, that's very clearly, like, vice signaling homophobia in, like, the fucking I'm gay and homophobic fucking, who does that? Dave Rubin. Does anyone know who that is?
This is
Man, this is kind of the reason why the video of EthanIsOnline that I made is kind of like 8 minutes, because Jesus Christ, this guy is so obnoxious. Like, even in that video, I said that my brain was like rotting away. Like, I felt like my brain was just losing brain cells over just listening to that guy. I don't know why people even watch him. Like, how does he even have 200K subs? I'm not saying like we should deplatform him or unsub to him, but it's like how? Because this is like trash. Okay, like this is bottom of the barrel content. Okay, it's just slob, leftist slob to be more precise.
Probably one of the worst things he could have said, knowing the type of person he claimed he used to be. He has no self-reflection and doesn't learn from his actions. I remember in another instance, he literally says he used to bully a gay kid because he was just projecting and secretly gay himself.
I ended up bullying
What?
a kid, and then we ended up being friends because I think we were both. I think he was gay, and I was queer. So
Oh, you bullied him for being gay when you were gay?
yeah, you know, kids have kind of a gaydar a little bit. He was either gay or autistic. I don't know.
Not to mention, you're literally just doing the extreme leftist tactic of ostracizing a group for disagreeing with your political ideals. Ethan is a prime example of a leftist friendly firing for wrongthink. The amount of pretentiousness here is extreme, as Ethan calls an openly gay man a homophobe for calling out generic virtue signaling Karens. Post writing note, from this point forward, let's play a game. Let's count how many times I say insinuate in this video. What Ethan is trying to insinuate by this statement is not even clear either, because he does not know how to formulate his thoughts concisely, but you can still gather what he's implying. Ethan is trying to detract from this man's ideas by using his sexual identity against him, calling him a weak link to being the gay counterpart of an Uncle Tom. Of course, Ethan would never say something like this so brazenly because he'd rather virtue against absolutely opposing ideas instead of friendly firing on people that are supposed to be identity allies. Another part in this video here that really just shows how much of a pretentious virtue signaling wannabe good guy Ethan tries to be is when he misses a blatantly obvious sarcastic joke anyone else could understand.
I'm dying. I think this is
That's my reaction whenever I watch an EthanIsOnline video.
killing me.
Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm a power gay at the Sundance Film Festival, and I'm gonna find some gorgeous Jewish producer to hook me up with a TV show, because I have a genius level IQ.
Guy who believes in IQ because he got really big number on it. I'll believe the fucking racist ass IQ system. It's
Wait, Ethan, what do you mean by that? Are you just basically saying that the IQ system or this whole like graft is racist? Bro, how dumb are you?
telling me I'm smart.
To me, and most people watching this, understand this is a joke meant to poke at extremist conspiracy theorists who think they're incredibly intelligent for believing Jewish individuals are secretly in control of elite organizations.
Ironic now because some people on the left also believe that, especially with this whole Israel-Palestine conflict.
It's obvious. In fact, after watching this clip with other people, it was inferred by them that the entire clip Ethan viewed may have very well been a satirization of right-leaning people, the very thing Ethan is against. Of course, this thought doesn't occur to Ethan because he's so brain-run by internet lefty virtue that he doesn't even stop to consider this guy is actually on his side. Instead, Ethan decides to make this something entirely about race and knocks the concept of IQ as some esoteric concept made specifically to be racist. You can only gather that by believing a conspiracy yourself about how IQ scores are used to specifically discriminate against marginalized groups.
And you also have to be secretly dumb to actually think that, oh, the IQ system is actually rigged in favor of, well, the whites. And in reality, it's also made so that way anyone who's not white, well, obviously they're quote unquote dumb. That's what Ethan believes. That's so stupid. Probably because he's secretly dumb. Like, I swear to God, like, his IQ must be lower than average for sure. Less than Xander Hall, who has like around a 90 IQ, which is a bit below average.
But of course, Ethan would say this as he goes on to call whoever he wants a Zionist and claim right-wingers are warmongering individuals who dream for a military-driven ethno-state. You know, the typical delusional bread-tube rhetoric meant to pin their ideas against opposing ideas for the sake of fear-mongering on behalf of their beliefs.
I'm fabulously funny, and I single-handedly ended global anti-Semitism.
Some of the people chanting Intifada Revolution are Jewish. Marjorie Taylor Greene's a fucking Zionist. You know what I mean? That's whose side you're on. Ask yourself, why do Christian Republicans love Israel so much? Maybe it's because it's like their ideal military state, racially segregated. Right-wingers love that shit.
But that's not the point of this video. The point of that segment right there is just to briefly...
And also a bit people on the left. I'm surprised Ethan didn't, say that part out loud. Then again, I think he's probably like secretly a Zionist, but of course he can't say that because probably his pro-Palestinian audience will turn against him and just eat him up.
highlight just how much Ethan insinuates extreme concepts while also pandering to what current-day woke Twitter children would typically consume. And I can tell he forces himself to be this way because even a somewhat intelligent person who is somewhat faking their ideologies could come up with better ways of driving home political nonsense without making vague, almost dog whistle-esque statements. Ethan, we know what you're calling out for, and we know the insinuations you're making, or at least I do. It's not slick and it's not sly. If you genuinely align with the rhetoric you're vaguely spouting, then say it with your chest and don't be a fraud. Otherwise, it's extremely easy to draw the conclusion that you're just a performative grifter, which makes your credibility seem questionable, not that you had any left. I'm not a political commentator and outright refuse to be one, so let me be very clear. That segment right there was specifically to point out just how vague and pretentious Ethan is with his arguments, if it wasn't clear already, because if you actually take a second to listen to what he says, he's not even making any arguments or concise statements in regards to his beliefs. He's just saying vague statements for viewers to impose what they want to gather out of it, which is successful, as seen by the comments, which means he can be as insincere and as indirect as possible and still gather a bunch of support from his grift. He also does this quite often, even when the topic of the video he's making isn't rooted in politics. Not to mention again, for the millionth time, and sorry for repeating myself, his intense need to be pretentious and act as a holier-than-thou individual. One great example is his infamous modern art video.
I used to hate modern art.
Oh my god, modern art, bro. I heard of this video, it's so bad. Why? And he even had to drag Moist Critical into it. Ethan, how desperate are you for attention? And also, how dumb are you? No wonder why you think the IQ system's so racist, because, well, you're basically are retarded.
I used to think it was too simple, too easy. It's not like the Mona Lisa. That's art. I thought it was less valuable than something more realistic because it didn't take as much skill. I used to think that until I actually went to an art museum and I learned about the stuff I was looking at. I learned the contexts, the purpose, the skill behind making these pieces. And it started to make sense. And since then, I feel like I've only benefited from having more of an open-minded perspective about art.
During the start of this video, he opens up with a pseudo-intellectual conversation about how he used to dislike modern art and then says he learned to appreciate it by understanding things such as the skills and context behind it, but then fails to explain.
Like what? This? Hold on, champ. You're telling me something like... First off, wow, SpongeBob, really? There's so many good ones as well, but obviously, there's actually a few that are just... First off, look at this one in the background. You see this, chat? See this in the background? Does that look like it's modern art for you? Like, does that look like art to you? It doesn't for me. It's just, well, just a bunch of scribbles and just, well, just paint just being dripped in the background. Even this right here, like, it's just... What is this? Does this consider art now? Because look, it's just, you know, just canvases just being mostly filled with color. I mean, that's what basically art is, but at least there's like something going on with it. And I can understand this one for sure. It's kind of like, I guess, galactic, but I don't know, it looks too simple. This right here is definitely art. Like, come on. You can't tell me this is, you know, amazing. Somehow Ethan just can't see it that way. He prefers seeing stuff like this.
Explain how, why, or what connected in his mind or the philosophy he came to form. Of course, instead of forming up a proper thesis, whether it was taking the time to write one out or sit down and think about it hours in advance before recording this video, he just goes straight to sponsor, only to return with this bullshit.
Of course there's a political component, right? All art is inherently political.
Of course there is a political component. All art is inherently political. Well, that's outright wrong. I don't think fanfictions of Dream SMP or art commissions for oddly rich furries are necessarily political.
Yeah. Ethan, is this political to you? I don't see anything political with this. It's just, well, a man holding an axe. Like, there's nothing political about this one. And obviously, there's not, you know, it shouldn't be political. And obviously, it looks good because it should look good. And because it's good, it's art.
Terrible example, I know, but I figured the more obscure I make the first example, the more variations of art will come to mind that aren't inherently political. And I guarantee you it worked now that your mind is racing to find more examples internally. And even if you want more practical, formal examples with pedigree, such as Van Gogh's Starry Night, Pablo Picasso's self-portraits, or The Scream by Edward Munch, these were all examples of art that were considered ahead of their time, or leads in modern art that weren't interpreted as political. They were interpreted as reflections of the mental turmoil of someone's psyche. What all of these artists have in common, aside from being ahead of their time, and their art representing modernism in one way or another, is that they all struggled with mental illness respectively. So your statement is inherently wrong. The only reason you would push this argument as an opening is because
Art critique is really just opinion, but a lot of people let right-wing propaganda cloud their judgment of modern art, whether they realize it or not. All because it helps them feel better in not wanting to engage with it. In an ideal conservative world, art is interpreted for people through a YouTube video full of lying, misinformation, emotional manipulation, false comparisons, but this happens every day.
I could say the same thing about Ethan's Online's channel. Like, it's just him just lying and, you know, just the most leftist propaganda channel of all time. Kind of like how he's saying, oh, there's a bunch of conservative, you know, propagandists out there. Well, Ethan, you're a leftist propagandist, and obviously you're just being a hypocrite.
And there we have it. In an ideal conservative world, oh my god. So not only do you say that art is up to interpretation and can be interpreted in different ways, but you also go on to say that the way conservatives discuss and interpret it is wrong. Okay, and why is that?
PragerU has made at least a dozen videos fooling your old grandpa about modern art. All of them are completely...
It's not fooling. They're actually speaking the truth. I even watched them myself, and I have to agree with them. Obviously, my dad agrees. My grandpa agrees. I mean, obviously, my parents and grandparents are going to agree with PragerU because obviously they're all conservative. But obviously, I am a conservative myself. But at least I'm like kind of open-minded. I let others speak. I'm sorry, but the left, especially you, Ethan is online. You guys already lost the topic for modern art. Like whatever you guys are trying to defend, that's not art. And it's not just my opinion; it's everyone's opinion.
nonsense and wrong. But why is it then I hear the same boring, shallow, fragile talking points from people who should be way more in touch with culture?
Because they're out of touch with culture per your standards. And again, we're back to insinuations. You're insinuating that because they are conservative and full of right-wing ideologies, the way they interpret modern art is fundamentally incorrect, which is a load of bullshit. And the lack of credibility that this statement has is only reinforced by the fact that you're attempting to compare apples to oranges by forcing Charlie as the topic of discussion into this video. And you acknowledge that these things aren't comparable, but you do it anyways because you have a grudge against the fact that Charlie somewhat holds the same ideas about modern art that a lot of conservatives have. And now you feel
Yeah, and Moist Critical is not even political. Like, he doesn't really talk about politics. But, of course, since Ethan believes that, oh, Charlie doesn't like modern art, he must be secretly a conservative.
obligated to be this morally superior, coddling, condescending virtuoso because you want to force your personal leftist ideas into it and pander to an audience of people equally as moronic as you.
Listen, yeah, I know his face is in the thumbnail, and yeah, this video is kind of about Charlie. But listen, it's not personal. I'm trying to compare content that realistically should have nothing in common. Fascist propaganda and gamer streamer should not be saying the same thing.
Of course, ironic, and, you know, it's the same thing over and over again. Of course, Ethan has to call PragerU fascist. Jesus Christ, no wonder why. Oh, God. Chat, my mind's just rotting away. I feel like my mind's just melting right now. Bro, I'm repeating what happened to me when I made that video on my main channel.
The difference is PragerU's content is motivated and has an agenda. Charlie is just being a useful idiot for that agenda, with peace and love. I know it's not on purpose. Charlie doesn't watch PragerU for his art analysis content. He probably didn't even get the talking points from them, but they're still saying the same thing. Charlie's just an average guy with an average brain in his head. Florida average, but average. But it's uncanny how similar normal average guy language can be to politically motivated propaganda. Content that we all know is dishonest. Listen, it's nothing personal, it's nothing against Charlie. I've met him before, he's very nice. I just don't know why he's like this.
I don't have to highlight the issue here, but I will anyways. I don't agree with your opinion because it's too similar to those of the people I disagree with. You're a victim to propaganda, so allow me to re-educate you. That's what Ethan is doing here, while attempting to come off as some intellectual, moral superior. If you're so intelligent, have you considered that with or without politics, people can come to the same conclusions naturally without needing political influence at all? Have you considered that art is up to interpretation and doesn't have to have shared ideas between all people? Oh, you have actually. You spent the introduction of this video explaining all of this.
Art critique is really just opinion. The difference is PragerU's content is motivated and has an agenda. Charlie is just being a useful idiot for that agenda, with peace and love. I know it's not on purpose. Charlie doesn't watch PragerU for his art analysis content. He probably didn't even get the talking points from them, but they're still saying the same thing. Charlie's just an average guy with an average brain in his head. Florida average, but average.
Then why do you feel the need to superimpose your beliefs onto his in an attempt to correct his? It's because, again, you're attempting to be a virtue signaling pretentious moron that forces politics into anything because you think it's the intellectual thing to do. Newsflash, moron, if you're this easy to read and comprehend, you're probably an idiot. This entire video, hell, even the introduction in the video alone just shows how obsessed Ethan is with wrongthink and correcting people on it. Which leads me to my next point.
Yeah, and it's so difficult for me to even put it to words. Like during that whole segment of just this guy just showing clips of EthanIsOnline talking about modern art and Penguin Zero just being wrong. Obviously, I automatically saw through that whole thing like it's all just bullshit. But obviously, I couldn't figure out how to put it to words because I don't know. Like this man is so like all around the place. Like it's even hard for me to come up with ways to even describe it. Like I understand it myself, but like how am I supposed to tell you guys, what in the world he's saying and doing, that and why it's wrong?
Ethan forces himself in situations and topics like these all the time to paint himself as an intellectually, creatively, and morally superior person. In fact, something that includes everything I just discussed is incredibly present in this smear video. This video is filled with nothing but extremely unnecessary insinuations, implications, and vague political rhetoric for the sake of making a pseudo-empathetic critique against Alex Rosen. And to clarify what I mean by pseudo-empathetic critique, I mean that he's sort of signaling that he feels bad for the pedophiles. Anyways, the introduction is spare.
Yeah, because he's probably defending pedophiles because, well, he said all conservatives are pedophile, not pedophile defenders. They're predator hunters, and obviously they're harassing pedophiles. And I think we should stop that. Even though when he's saying that, he kind of sounds like he is trying to defend pedophiles.
Fair play in this video. He genuinely makes some good points in regards to one of the very first viral moments of Alex Rosen where he completely fumbled his sting on EDP.
Everyone said that. Even Alex, I bet now he agrees that, yeah, he messed up. At least he's doing better now. And obviously he's not using real kids.
I'll give credit where credit is due, which is immediately detracted right after the fact as he goes on a tangent insinuating that Alex Rosen himself is a predator. He does this by taking clips out of context, making the implication that Alex Rosen is a PDF. You know what? A Ethan file, without ever having the balls to outright say it. Also, Ethan, once again, can literally not go more than a few minutes, 5 minutes to be fair, without making it a political issue and inserting his virtue signaling.
Yeah, he's openly admitted before that he just uses actual minors as bait. Doesn't really make sense to me. I thought you're supposed to be protecting the children, not sacrificing them. And again, remember, this is all for nothing. This is also they just get content out of actual pedophiles. So of course, because the predator hunter anti-pedophile dog whistles are extremely right-wing in nature, he was also on Tim Pool's show, where I think a pedophile hunter should be.
I just decided.
Of course he would say that, but like I said, there's nothing political about any of this, and of course he's saying that, and at the same time it backfires because, well, it's basically making us just insinuate, including me, of course. I insinuate that since EthanIsOnline is saying that all predator hunters are right wing in nature, I guess, especially Ethan himself, I guess all not pedo hunters, pedo defenders are all leftists in nature.
To go throw up a fake profile of a 15-year-old boy and just see what happens.
This guy keeps getting interviewed, even though he's directly put minors in harm's way before, on purpose. He was recently interviewed by Michael Knowles of the Daily Wire. Michael Knowles is like a D-tier Daily Wire guy, so I never really talk about him. He's really stupid. He's like the Waluigi to Ben Shapiro's Mario.
So because the anti-pedophile dog whistles are right-wing in nature, Ethan, honestly, how the fuck do you come to this conclusion? You can't even provide an explanation why this is the case. If you're making claims like these, at least have the capacity to elaborate on them and make the idea whole instead of dog whistling yourself and banking on Twitter leftists to fill in the blank for you. Instead, you just go on to once again make insinuations and talk mess about Tim Pool and other individuals you disagree with.
I mean, yeah, Tim Pool and Michael Knowles are all conservative, but they also have people from the left and independent and just everyone else. So it's like, Ethan, what in the world are you talking about?
Have some integrity. Really, you have the audacity to call this guy stupid, but can't even hold real talk.
It's not like every single person from Tim Pool's show and Michael Knowles' show, like every single guest from all of them, they're all conservative. They're not.
Points or arguments yourself. It's impossible to take you seriously.
On the scale of these guys don't consider anything in the metaphysical realm to these are interdimensional demons worshiping Satan, where do your marks fall?
You see why I can't fucking take Michael Knowles seriously. Immediately, he's like, where do you think on the scale of, like, interdimensional demons do you think these random Facebook pedophiles you're catching in your fucking rural Texas town. Do you think that could be alien demons?
Ethan, you seriously need to have some self-reflection and awareness because you literally do the exact same thing. In fact, you do it worse. Once again, you just insinuate and imply things. You never explain where you get any of your conclusions from or why they make sense. At this point, who are you to say anything about anyone or their style of conversing?
This guy is a high school graduate with a YouTube channel.
Do you ever go to the movies or something? Do you ever have a day off?
Well, I don't take off days. I'll love to work. So luckily, I think catching predators is the funnest thing somebody can do. So it really works out well for me.
So, he's so brain broken. He doesn't take off days. He just sits inside on the internet, probably scrolling Twitter all day long, talking to fucking pedophiles on Facebook, pretending to be a minor.
Bro, oh my god, Ethan, what are you doing? Bro, Alex is doing something good. He's catching these pedophiles. Obviously, he's disguising himself as a kid, so that way he can talk to them and then, lure him to a place and then confront the guy and also have the police involved so that way they can arrest the dude. Ethan, it's so simple. And of course, Alex is maybe getting paid, from donations, and obviously he's being put on Tim Pool and Michael knows or whatever his name is. Bro, what are you talking about? Of course, Alex is having a good time doing this. He's doing something good, and it's kind of like his job now.
Every day. Unwell.
And plus, I wouldn't be speaking to Ethan. You're spending all day, every day on the internet. I mean, just look at you. Look how pale you look compared to Alex.
He said it's the funnest thing I can think of.
Something that really ticked me off when watching this video is how Ethan has the audacity to insult Alex Rosen for sitting inside all day catching predators, and then insults his intelligence. Ethan, again, self-reflection. You make zero intelligent statements. Your reaction and dissection of this is piss poor. You sit inside and smoke weed all day, pandering to an audience that will rip you apart the moment Lex comes out against you. You literally provide absolutely nothing but false and negative interpretations of people that are at least doing something to protect a few communities. You sit on Twitter every day, you sit on YouTube every day, and pretend to be an intelligent, virtuous individual. You are significantly worse.
Dude, he watches so much fucking propaganda and interrogation on YouTube where he's trying to establish rapport with this old man in his recliner.
At least try to be nuanced, Ethan. What Alex Rosen is doing is not only a tactic that is proven to be functional to get people to admit their wrongdoings, but there are several psychological studies that support the idea that behavioral affirmation and things such as confirmation bias lead people to say things out of pure comfort.
Does he think this is an interrogation?
Well, yes, he literally wants him to admit his actions.
Man, I bet I bet Ethan would, just admit to everything if he was caught too. Obviously he's making fun of it, but bro, Ethan, what happens if you're the one who's being interrogated? I wouldn't be scared now. I bet you wouldn't be scared. Okay, you're just hiding behind a mask. I know you're scared deep down. You're, this is probably gonna be you in the future.
I do think that because this guy keeps repetitively engaging these people, clearly, you can't arrest him for that. Because he wasn't talking to a little girl. He was talking to a guy pretending to be a little girl. It's not illegal, unfortunately.
It's not illegal, unfortunately. Yes, it is. You could have figured this out by doing one Google search.
Yeah, everyone knows that. Even though it's not really a minor, bro, obviously the police are still gonna arrest you because obviously they're gonna think that, worse for the worse, in worst case scenario in particular, you're actually talking to a minor. Of course, they're gonna be worried that something like that will happen even after, that person talked to a supposed minor, even though it's actually someone in disguise, so that way they can catch them.
Texas Penal Code states that someone can be charged for talking to a person that presents themselves to be younger than 17. That could be literally anyone, including Alex Rosen. And to be clear, he is from Texas. This is also the case if the solicitor believes a decoy is in fact a minor, which is why a confession is incredibly important. It's illegal in most states, especially if intent is proven, usually from a request to meet in person as well.
We were posing as a fake pedophile online, and he either messaged me or my
Bro! Posing as a fake pedophile online. Of course. I downloaded it just as a fake. I downloaded it so no one else can have it.
This part right here really grinded my gears. You do realize people can just say anything on the internet, right? You can't possibly be ignorant to this. It's disgusting that you're implying that Alex is a Pethanphile himself or that he's in possession of CSAM. People are edgy and say things that are deceptive all the time, whether it's a joke or to be annoying edgelords. You do the same thing, especially when it comes to how you handle the super mega situation. As a matter of fact, this entire video is filled with Ethan just making claims such as this. Literally every other minute, he's implying that Alex Rosen is a Pethanphile.
You can't make...
Man, I bet that behind the scenes, Ethan is making edgy stuff, you know, insane edgy stuff. But of course, he if he does it on a video or a live stream, his audience would just eat him up.
these kinds of jokes and look like this. He doesn't want to be a cop anymore. He's having way too much fun, trying to be a little boiled.
Ethan, are you sure about that? Because I would never, ever want to look like this. Like blonde hair, weird looking beard and mustache, pale looking, you know, like Discord mod.
It's important to remember that he literally said that he only started using Grindr because he had pictures of his little brother that he posted on there. Come on my show. Wow, you posted child porn of your brother?
have a 9-year-old daughter.
And be a pedophile too, because you look like a pedophile. And be a pedophile too, because
The person that looks more like a pedophile is you, Ethan. Just letting you know.
you look like a pedophile.
I guess I'm just trying to.
Dude, these guys never talk about fucking anything.
These guys don't ever talk about fucking anything. You don't either.
Michael Knowles is a fucking idiot.
And you are too.
Yeah, I'd rather watch Michael Knowles than Ethan is online.
Last thing, since I'm dragging this on, Ethan, as I said, is an individual so full with envy in his heart, he's so delusional and needs to feel superior to others so desperately that he just has to deprecate anything and everything through virtue signaling and moral superiority. He does just that by the end of this video, calling Alex Rosen's arrests, convictions, and stings useless because he's accomplishing nothing.
At this point, we have an arrest in 44 different states.
An arrest in 44 different states. So one per state out of 600 stings?
Convictions in 30.
But that's a really nice way to not say how many.
So, how many stings have you done?
Oh my gosh. I think close to 600 over the years.
God damn, dude, he basically does nothing. He's lucked out every time he's really caught someone and actually gotten them convicted. Such a grifter.
Alex Rosen has gotten a few successful arrests and investigations towards some very dangerous people. He's gotten a few people jailed and sentenced. He's made other people aware of some very disgusting individuals. Clout chasing or not, that is very valuable to our society. It helps communities where one Pethanphile can destroy the innocence of potentially dozens or hundreds of children. Yet Ethan has the audacity to say that Alex Rosen does nothing. Ethan, you do nothing. You make garbage videos with literally no substance. You smoke weed all day like an addict. You can't put down the pen for 1 second and make bad faith takes about everyone and anyone. You accomplish literally nothing.
Such a grift.
I think the weed is actually also making him, stupid. Like, I swear to God, man, like, ever since he started being addicted to weed, like, he's smoking all the time, yeah, I think it made him much dumber, and just full on retarded.
Such a grifter. Ethan, you're literally the worst grifter I've seen, right behind Sneeko or Hassan. Actually, at least Hassan donates to charities and the causes he believes in. I think all your money is wasted in recreational drugs, toys, and maid dresses. After Ethan made this quote-unquote hit piece against Alex, he took to Twitter where he was rightfully called out and had a heated argument with Alex Rosen himself where he doubles down on his takes and gets absolutely Twitter rolled. Twitter does what it does best, and Ethan got flamed, and long story short, Ethan made these pathetic self-victimizing tweets. Really cute to keep making videos harassing a victim of multiple CSA for calling out the unethical and suspicious practices of a YouTuber wannabe cop. Seriously, fuck all of you. You're defending an actual predator, but you don't care because you want the content. You're sick. Well, Ethan, you probably shouldn't be calling another person a predator without evidence or substantial proof. If I saw some overpaid hog YouTuber sitting for tea with a man that groomed and assaulted me, I'd be sick to my stomach. Fuck you all for inserting yourself into something you don't understand. Well, have you considered the fact that maybe a victim would be potentially happy that the person who is grooming them is actually getting sent to fucking prison or called out on their disgusting behavior? Maybe you're the one who doesn't understand. I don't give a shit about your NPC talking points. You don't know what this kind of trauma is like, and you don't give a shit about children or victims. I'm humiliated I have to even talk about this, but getting called a pedophile for months on end has been crippling on my mental health. Fuck you all. I hope you get exactly what you deserve.
Funny how, he's, talking shit about everyone on the internet, but whenever it happens to him, he's having a meltdown and that, he should, you know, log off. Because Ethan, if you're really being affected by all of this for your mental health sake, just log off, man. And also, this thread right here, first off, obviously, because, he's a coward, he decided to lock reply so that way only he can reply. Secondly, this is basically Ethan whenever he was writing and talking in this thread. Yeah, Ethan, you're literally this guy right now. Okay, you're in your Joker moment. Like this is you right now. When you're writing this thread. I mean, not right now, but you still get my point. Like this is literally you. Okay, you're having your Joker moment at that point.
Ethan, you can't make these tweets calling someone a predator outright and then expect to not get the same shit served right back to you. Not to mention, you made an entire video where you called and insinuated that he was a predator for like 20 minutes. You reap what you sow, and it looks like you can't handle what you rightfully have to reap. You started this, and now you want people to empathize with you? As a matter of fact, your credibility is so negative that who's to say you're not making the rest of this up for pity? Have a backbone, dude. Grow up, own up to your horrible behavior. Ethan is someone who is genuinely an unreliable person on this platform. Throughout the course of this video, I made it a priority to highlight just how disingenuous and hollow he is as a creator. He never makes arguments or strong talking points. He lies about people and insinuates the worst on their character. He never truly knows what he's talking about. He just makes vague implications and hopes that his audience assumes whatever point he's attempting to make. He constantly virtue signals and attempts to be better than everyone else despite being a talentless loser with no skills. And on top of that, he's an insufferable weed addict who inserts politics into everything for the sake of leftist key-jingling pandering. Literally every video, he has to insert leftism or how the right wing is bad in the first 2 to 5 minutes without fail. I have no sympathy for him, and I can respect his craft. Ethan, you hide behind a shield of insinuation. You don't have the bravado or spine to actually speak what's on your mind unless it's through a digital text-based platform, because there's no way in hell you confront anyone with more than half a brain on call or through indirect videos. There's no way you'd even say what you intend to say 100% through because you're too afraid to get called out on your word. You make terrible content that is carried by a leftist audience that can't see through your facade. You're a miserable individual who absolutely needs to be better than everyone around him, or else he starts becoming an agitated mess. Respectfully, disrespectfully actually, clean your act up, apologize to your friend, to the people you unfairly slandered, and focus on making projects that are actually interesting. That's all I got. Take care.
And also, please get off the weed, man. Okay, like just clean yourself up, sober up, and get rid of the weed, okay? Like that's actually affecting your mind. Like the reason why you're making all these terrible talking points is that the weed is just affecting your mind. Like you're losing brain cells because of it. Anyway, this guy, he made such a good video. Just I'm liking it up, okay? Make sure to check it out, and that's all I gotta say.